All right, peace, power, and love is always in greeting. Um, Appreciate the new subscribers always. Appreciate y'all for taking the time out to just, appreciate the content. Uh, Appreciate the likes. Just wanted to say thank you. Also want to give a shout out to uh, my activatemedia.org family out of Boston, Mass. Shout out Patrick Wilson. Um, and like I say, I just appreciate y'all taking the time out. It to me is about uh, just trying to shed light on problems and shed light on issues. You know, I kind of in my introduction video kind of touched on it, but I never really went in depth. Uh, I just want to be part of what's right uh, with so much wrong being prevalent. And I always say that uh, we need each other. That's kind of like another one of my little just catchphrases that I said I was going to start saying during every uh, broadcast that I do, because I want us to understand that we need each other. Uh, Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Ain't no ways around it. We recognize that we do. We just don't act on it. We don't behave like we understand. And there are some of us who understand and who are, uh, ready to stand ground. I'll just say that, hold our own, because when I say that, a lot of people say, well, there you go, see, talking that violence. No, when I say stand ground and hold your own, I mean maintaining what you got, taking care of what you got, defending what you got, of course. That comes with maintaining it. You just not going to let nobody come and take it. You know, uh, those types of things, building and progressing together. Uh, uh, just the little things that we could do that would make big differences are really elementary, effortless. I've said this several times. Uh, you know, and especially in the, today's climate, because things are becoming scarce. And see, what are we going to do when things are so high priced that we can no longer afford them? We'll have to start going backwards on our diets. And we already so many of us have been health stricken, with illnesses, from this food to the water to probably even the air we breathe. And in a lot of cities, that's the case. You know, uh, so we really gotta start understanding and recognizing the uh, urgency of what's happening, because things are happening so fast. And then on top of that, you have all these circumstances that are happening across the globe, and you got your own personal things that you're dealing with, and the world just is not kind. And that's why I always say we gotta depend on us, start using us for our own benefit, not using us to get over on one another like we so often do. but using us to each other's advantage. And that's why I always say we all have a key right here and right here, because of the simple fact that where your mind and your heart is where what's really your spirit is guiding your heart and your mind. It keeps you from sometime doing things you shouldn't, or it keeps you uh, focused and grounded on a project or a plan. But it's something that's driving you, and your spirit should always be guiding you. But those are things and connections that we truly do possess. Those are things that we could use to our benefit. How many things that we have invented never really got paid? Just even in today's time, and you see why they work so hard to keep us out. And I say, let's stay out. But they work hard to keep us out because when we enter the arena, so to say, we always rise above the rest. No matter what circumstance, daytime, none of that really matters. When it comes down to competing, whether it be even intellectually, we are, like I've always said, more superior than most. And we should act as such. This is why I say getting back in touch with us in 2024 is really important, because time is moving fast. And, time is of the essence. And there's so many things that have already happened just in the first few days of this new year. And like I've said in so many videos, pay attention to the weather. How many, pay attention to the stars and all of that's around you, because that's really what we had a attachment to. That's what we really was guided by, the spirit, and just knowing it's something, but appreciating what we had and not taking advantage of it, and just using it, and then charging some people for it. Others don't have to worry about that. Just everything's so money based. When we let money become such a factor that we throw away our morals and values, our integrity, and we don't even look back to pick it up, a lot of us, and what we really got to learn to do, as far as first, just plan. Just go over my 3 keys. Planning is necessary, because if you don't have a plan, what can you do? You can't build a house without a plan. You can't do nothing without a plan. You can't draw a picture without a plan. You can't write a poem without a plan. You can't do nothing without a plan. Now, some things happen unexpectedly, where you may not have time to plan, but you always stay prepared for the unexpected. But just having a simple plan is necessary. Being organized, which is my second, and then it just leads to the third. But organization, and there's nothing wrong. We're made to feel as if our gathering together, our coming together, and planning is against the law, and it's not. And we really, as black men and black women specifically, uh, need to start coming together and planning and organizing so that our children will have half of a chance. And I'm not trying to be the pessimistic, but I did say half of a chance, because they're already setting things up for how they really want the tide to turn. And we got to pay attention, because numerically, some things are going to happen before 2050 that will have those in power now as the numerical minority in a country that they claim they built. Uh, and we all know that story. But just simple planning and organizing. And we've had several black prints laid. I went over this before as well. We've had several black prints laid where all we really have to do is put them back in action and start making our dollars work for us. I mean, and it's not about being greedy. What we can't become is what we despise. We can't become what we trying to get rid of. And those amongst us, even who may look like us, that have that westernized mindset, that capitalistic, greedy, I got it all, I want more attitude, is irrelevant to anybody's cause. Anybody. Because they're a self-guided, me type of individual. What you don't need on your team. But we have got to be able to be so on code and be so prepared that nothing will stop the momentum. And that's why I say too that we all need to become leaders. In my hometown, rest in peace, Mr. J.D. Franklin. Black man, did a lot of good in Sulphur Springs, and just the epitome of a man. What men used to be and still should be. And I was telling my brother the other day when we were talking, we losing all our, men who had a little stature, in the community. And I was telling him that every time one of them leave, somebody need to pick up the torch, fill them shoes. We always talk about if the shoe fit, wear it. Well, we need to start looking for shoes that fit and wearing them. We need to start looking for the right shoes that's going to guide us in the right direction and put them on so that we can learn how to work together, build together, grow together. The self-hate amongst us is unbelievable sometimes. How you don't even have to know a person to hate them. You'll just hate them because of what somebody else sees them as, or how somebody else looks at them. And we do that within our culture quite a bit. I'm not trying to slam nobody in particular. I'm just pointing out our behavior, and we've all been guilty of that. That's just what we do. Better than anybody else, chop somebody else down. And That's that divide and conquer mentality that we keep perpetuated today. They don't even have to worry about it. They don't have to do it like they did then, because we constantly work against one another. You know, we don't take the time out, and I won't even say it like that. I'll say it this way. We have got to learn how to make the time that matters to us, because it ain't always on somebody's job. It ain't always chasing money. It ain't always having and driving the biggest car, the house. It's about making the best of what you have and always looking to make that better. But at the same time, like my granddaddy used to say, if you ain't got but a dime in your pocket, walk with your chest out like you got $1,000 bill. You know, and just don't ever feel it. And these are some of the talks too we need to have. Don't ever feel so defeated. Every time I say that, I think about Sister Kid. At night we was talking, and I stopped saying fearful and started saying defeated because of what she said on one of my older podcasts. And we can't feel defeated when we haven't even attempted to step in the ring. But what we do need to do is get the team together and get the team right so that we can step in the ring, and not just so that we can step in the ring to defeat an opponent. The first opponent that we're going to have to defeat is ourselves. That's the first and foremost. We're going to have to cleanse ourselves and make sure that we really right in the way that we need to be to accomplish and conquer and do what needs to be done when the time comes. Because it's going to come a time when you're going to be looking for somebody that look like you. Mark my words. You think Ahmaud Arbery, when he was running that day, wasn't looking, hoping, and praying that he ran into somebody that looked like him? You think Trayvon Martin, when he was hollering and screaming, was hoping that somebody would come out and look out their window, the door that would look like him and see what was really going on? You think Sandra Bland, and so on and so on, Botham Jean, all that, so on, Breonna Taylor, you know. See, and that is what concerns me the most, and especially moving into 2024, and we still can't manage to plan and organize. And those are just two of the simplest things that we could do that would really be effortless as well. And that's the thing about what I feel too keeps people away from wanting to get involved, other than some of them being afraid of the system. But I feel that people don't think they can contribute anything. They have anything to contribute. And like I said earlier, we all need to be leaders. That's part of it. And I'm not saying be leaders in the forefront. When we're all leaders, they can't pinpoint nobody. When we all on code and we all stepping in the same direction, when we all flowing like water, and it's amazing how A little trickle of water can turn into a little stream and then turn into a whole river just from one little flow. Moving in the same direction on a consistent basis. Just always making progress. And that's how simple I equate the things that we could do to lift ourselves up and at least stand a chance. It's important that we build. We gotta build. I'm not so much into a lot of the money play, but sometimes good opportunities happen. Take advantage of them, but be careful with that as well. Do your investigating and all that, because the more that we can do for each other, see, and then if we can create that kind of wealth, we ain't got to worry about these entertainers and these athletes and all that. And like I've said before, nothing against none of them personally, because I don't know any of them personally. But they not worried about us. So we got to really start worrying about us and start putting ourselves where we need to be. And that's up to us. And like I say, planning and organizing is effortless. With emails and computers and all that, planning and organizing is nothing. Don't matter where we at in this country, we can still organize and plan and work together and get on the same flow and create our own river like we create every damn thing else. And we got enough power if we start flowing in the right direction to create several rivers and flow them into the oceans. Because, like I say, once we start doing, we really master things. We'll be building them neighborhoods that's going to be state of the art, what everybody's waiting to see. Everybody's waiting on this new age architecture and all that. Well, the young minds that's blessed enough to be like you and me are going to be the creators of that. That's why we got to get our acts together and start giving them the right direction and putting them in this flow as well. Putting them in this current. Yeah, letting them see and feel what it looked like to win for a change, to be doing something that is not illegal, to be doing something other than chasing after a ball. And I don't, like I say, to each his own, how you raise yours, but I prefer mine to get it up here. Get it in your head and move forward with that, because we have so many talents and so much knowledge and wisdom coming up behind us in these youngsters that we have definitely got to harness and make sure that those ideas that they come up with, those things that they create, start benefiting their families, and stop waiting on these people to come tell you what to do and then offer you what they want to give you off of said talent. Because that's what always happens. We be so quick to accept $1 million, not even thinking about the $5 million that's gonna be gross. We hear $1 million, oh yeah, but the man that come with the pen and the paper, he gonna make $4 million. But you finna work for that $1 million, and then you're not even gonna get all that. We continue to let that happen. See, we gotta show our children how to be independent of the system, and planning and organizing and unifying. That's my last key, because those two elements create that aura of unity and can bring back that type of living that we had, even though the 70s wasn't no different than times now, because the dollar value has always been set to the economics and always works in favor where the producer of the goods gain money and the buyers lose money. And that's just a forever ending cycle. And ain't nothing changed, but there was more of a sense of unity amongst our people back in the 70s. I can remember those times. Being 54, born in 69. So I can remember those 70s when families were still tight. You know, and yeah, families still had their issues then, just like they do now, but they wasn't killing each other about them. Now you got family members shooting each other, brothers killing brothers and sisters out here. We just, that's our answer to everything. Drop them. Get mad about the cops, but you don't go trying to drop cops. But let a black dude, somebody up the block, do something, oh, you looking for it. We so quick to do harm to our own. That's why I say some of us ain't no good to us. And there are elements within ourselves that we gonna have to erase, change, redirect. And these young people is all they need is redirection. Redirection. Because this is that generation that's weaker. Weaker because they have a follower's mentality. We ain't able to grab them and teach them that leader mentality like we were taught. But we need to take that, we need to reclaim that back and reestablish discipline back into our culture. We failing our children if we don't. We setting them up for the penitentiary or the graveyard. And if the penitentiary get a hold to them, they ain't gonna be all gentle and handle them like cotton balls and brand new babies neither. That's the last place they gonna find some love. So we have got to create the kind of environments that's going to allow our children to thrive within a system that wasn't intended on them to even participate in. And we can't hide that truth. We can't continue to hide the truth from these young people, because if not, they will brainwash them back into the same condition that we climbing up out of right now. And you see how they're trying to remove slavery from the history books now. They're ashamed of it. But yet in their calamity, they still haven't apologized for it. They still haven't reparated nobody for it. I shared some on my Facebook page the other day, that list of reparations, who they paid and who they haven't. So, that's why I say too, we can reparate ourselves. Not that we not old, but if we took care of self first, nothing else on the outside would matter, because we be in that flow. We be in that power flow. And I call it a power flow because if we create it, it's going to be powerful. It's going to be hard to be stopped if we do it like we can. nobody will be able to stop it. Nobody will be able to duplicate it or replicate it, copycat it, all that. That's why they be so experimental on us, because they want to know, how do they stay looking young so long? You know, how do this and that and this. They want to be us. Plain and simple. A lot of them that hate us want to be us. And see, we can't let that lie ever die. Like they say, don't forget remember the Alamo and all this. Remember 9/11 and remember the Holocaust. Well, yeah, remember slavery. If you say that, oh, get over that. That was, no, that wasn't just, That was some of the most horrific, tragic, vulgar, vile treatment that you could think of. So it's so ironic how they want you to forget one but remember the others. Like I say, they not gonna never apologize for slavery. They not gonna never reparate us from slavery and what they did. They too busy wanting us to get over it. Well, we can. And I say it may be time for us to just forget about all that and start focusing on the next step, the next phase. That's what we got to start working on. The next step, the next phase. And like I say, technology will allow us to link up no matter where we at in the world. We can come together and just like we in front of one another. There are ways to do it. Several ways. So these are the things that we really need to start putting together. And those like-minded individuals will draw to it. Because if we don't start putting those types of things into play, it hurts me to say it. It does, but we ain't gonna have nothing. And then we gonna have to fight for everything that we need. And that's why I say it's time to start taking care of the things that we need, and then the things that we want to start falling into place. But we gotta first take care of the needs, because this supply chain is already jacked up. It's already jacked up. Food sky high, and then this government dysfunctional right now. And it don't matter what's going on. They not gonna ever forget how to hate niggas. This country will never forget how to do that. I don't care what kind of war going on, where it's going on. They not gonna never forget that. And they gonna forever keep the pressure applied. Trust and believe. And there's so many others that are starting to slip into that hole of pressure being applied. And I told a lot of y'all, poor people, newly poor people, that you need to start trying to link up with somebody that know how to struggle. Because some of y'all newly poor people ain't gonna make it. That's why we need each other. This government don't mean us no good. Name one thing that this system has done that's benefited us collectively. I'm not talking about a whole bunch of other people that get to experience what our forefathers fought and died for. Our forefathers and foresisters fought and died for. and we don't get to reap none of those benefits. If we do, we got to jump through several hoops in order to establish it. So why not create our own space where we can have our own everything that we need, so that we don't have to keep begging people that's not going to give us the time of day, a pot to piss in, nor a window to throw it out. They don't mind how we struggle, as long as it ain't they struggle. They don't mind here if our babies is crying because of lack of food. That's not their problem. They don't care if our home, if we so strapped that we don't have lights, that's not their problem. Then you got the veterans that put their lives on the line for this country, and they're some of the worst treated individuals in America. Shouldn't be no homeless veterans nowhere. Should always be somewhere a homeless veteran can lay down and get a good night's sleep, a bath, a good meal. Always be. There should always be a place for them. This country, this is how it does. So why do we think that America's gonna treat us any different? Why do we think that America's going to change? We have saw how America's treated us as black men and women, and we actually think that they would go kick it up a notch to the good side, or go back to doing what they were doing and how it used to be, because they would still like to have us in chains if they could. That ain't no secret. Everybody know that. I ain't saying nothing brand new. Look at their behavior. Makes it evident. Makes it evident. So, yeah, how is it that we still keep falling for the same okie doke? How is it that we still keep thinking that a zebra is going to change his stripes? A zebra is going to forever be striped. I don't care how you paint it. But it is definitely time that we do, what's best for us for a change, and stop worrying about what the world think. Stop worrying about what certain people think, and stop being scared to do it, and just go on and do it, because that's what needs to be done. Yeah, that's truly what needs to be done. We need to start working on a pullback, a pull away, a separation, a gentrification for ourselves. Everybody else is doing it. And then within them communities, they build their little schools and all that, and start expanding the community outward. That's how everybody's doing it except us. We flocking to go to where they come from. That's really not an upgrade. An upgrade is building your own from the ground up, where your ass cheeks is the first ones to hit that toilet seat when the house is ready to go. Yeah, something you built. Something that ain't nobody else ever used. Yours, brand new. We got to think like that. We got to start moving like that. It's the only way we going to truly get ahead. And like I say, we not doing it out of, it's not to be done out of selfishness. It's done out of selflessness, because we've never, since we haven't ever really had the chance, the opportunity to establish a town and watch it get to fully flourish. Because every time we would establish one, they would immediately burn it down, loot it, raid it. So just, do what they did with no consequences. And this is why I say we need to do it again. And we should know, yeah, we gotta protect it. And we deserve to have it. I got such big thoughts of how we could come up and live off this grid and have our own communities, our own power, our own water, all of that. We can do it. All we got to do is make it happen. Then we won't have to worry about the water being poisoned. We can start growing our own food again like we are masters at doing. Yeah. All the stuff they don't want us doing. That's why they work so hard to keep us from coming together, because they know when we start bringing these minds together, oh, they ass in trouble. Yeah, when we start bringing these intellectual, powerful thinking minds together, flowing in the same direction. Yeah. It's like we be unstoppable. It's like some of us, we don't recognize it, we don't see it, we don't. I feel it. Yeah, it's something that really you feel. Because I can feel the tide turning, but we still lacking. We still are lacking. It's going to take more of us than what's happening right now. We got to start thinking more selfishly, but selflessly. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all know exactly what I mean. So, sometimes, as the saying goes, you can't just keep talking about it. It come a time you got to be about it. And now is the time for us to really be about it. Be about rebuilding, reclaiming our culture, reclaiming our children, bringing discipline back into the picture. Stop allowing this system to tell us how we can discipline our children, and discipline our children accordingly. Start rebuilding our communities, reestablishing black businesses so that we can have things to physically give to our children, to give them a chance to give their children something, and so on and so on and so on. But we have got to be the jump starters. We have got to get this going. Time is of the essence. And if we don't start digging now, we're going to be left out. It's time for us to start digging now. breaking ground now. Rebuilding this village now. Yeah, I'm tired of seeing us struggling. And when that time comes, it's gonna be some struggling. And we gonna definitely have to learn how to work in unity. We got to get ready. It's really all I got. Um, I say I appreciate y'all tuning in, listening to the content. Like I say, just a plain brother, simple brother trying to bring about a little change, um, and get us moving in the right direction. You know, I feel like that's the least that I can do, the least that we can do. Get involved, be vocal. Don't be scared to speak up. You know, uh, those types of things are necessary as well. Sometimes your silence is complicity, especially when people are suffering and losing their lives. So, um, I love y'all as always. You know what I mean? Like I say, appreciate y'all tuning in. Share it with a friend. And I'll be back next week, you know, with another one. Like I always say in closing, let's plan, let's organize, let's unify. Because we all got a key right here and right here. I'm out. Peace. Power. Love.